if you're listening on the podcast and you probably just heard Matt's amazing new intro, thank you so much for that. Um, you know, we are going to be talking about WandaVision episode 3 today. I was going to say we're going to talk about like the negatives and the positives, but honestly, there's not that many negatives to talk about for this episode. Um, and then if we have a little bit more time at the end, we're going to go over the possible theories that we said last time. So if you weren't here last time or you haven't listened to it last time, you can find us on Spotify, YouTube, hopefully pretty soon, and Google Podcasts, Apple, all that stuff. And I think there's a stream here on Twitch as well. But before we get into all that, let me introduce you to the 1 month later crew. We got Matt.
Hi guys, Matt from Talking Pop Culture. Just do reviews on comics every day. So yeah, feel free to join and have fun with me.
Hey guys, my name is Nuno. I'm from I Talk Comics. We just talk about comics there. I basically review, and I'm on this wonderful podcast. And thank you so much for having me again this week.
Carlo.
Book Biker here on Insta. Follow me for almost daily comic book posts.
How's it going, guys? This is Carlos from Omnipotent City Comics. Join me on Instagram. I just like to post everything comic book related. And yeah, let's talk heroes and villains.
And
hey guys, this is Nick, Vinyl Casket and Vinyl Casket Comics on Instagram. Yeah, always just putting stuff out over there. Check it out. Check me out on Twitch. Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays.
Cool. That's us. That's everybody. Myself, I got Manny Reads Comics on Instagram. I like to talk about the comics that I just read, and that's pretty much it. Other than that, let's get started. Relax, sit back, and put your capes on. First things first, we're going to talk about the negatives. And like I said, there's literally not much to do. What we talked about was the laugh track. And one of the main things that bothered me, I don't know about you guys, but it bothered me a lot, was just that nobody questions the powers. Like Vision literally ran super speed with that doctor, and all he said was like, "Oh, I'm a little dizzy." Like that bothers me.
I actually really know I noticed that as well. And what I kind of wrote that off to is two things: the silliness of like again 70s, 60s, 50s types of like sitcoms where it's almost part of the comedy, right?
Yeah.
And the second thing that I gave them a lot of leeway on is that it has to do with Wanda's continuous manipulation of like people, right? So even if they may notice it, I think that she's using her powers to just, I don't know, almost make them not question it too much to the point where they, start realizing that something is really, really, really wrong. But you get
the Monica, even she was like, I realize that a lot of things are happening right now, so I'm just gonna chalk it up to this is normal. And she's like, yeah,
exactly.
For sure, I think that she's literally. I was gonna add to that. I think she's scaring everybody because everyone seems scared of her. You know what I mean? So we kind of learned that in this episode, and I feel like they're like, "Oh man, we just kind of flew through the sky. Whoa, did we really just do that? We just flew through the sky." And then they're just like, "Okay, let's keep going. Let's like just on to the next thing, you know?" And the guy's like, "We just flew through the sky." You know what I mean? Like so, right. Yeah, exactly. It's that, yeah, they really hitting on it. I mean, there's not a lot of negatives in this one, man. I'm gonna be honest. Last week I had a bunch of negatives, but this week, no.
It was the same as when he was sawing the wall. The neighbor.
Yeah. Her.
Her. Oh my god.
Like, it just doesn't explain. Like I'm guessing at the end we're gonna figure it all out. But
no, they scared. I don't know if it's like you saw them whispering, like they're like basically what we seen is every time they catch on to her thing, they say she switches it up on them. So they're
on
like
that, I realized they whispering don't tell her, don't say anything, because I've got the subtitles on on the TV.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you can hear, because I couldn't hear. I wouldn't have known what they said unless the subtitles were on. So
they don't want her to know because she's the one changing everything, right?
Yeah.
So if she finds out, we're in another time frame. because we were talking about that last episode. She keeps switching up the time frames and
Well, she
like
did that again in this episode.
Yeah, on
Bruh.
Vision. Was it to Vision?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was like, yo, listen, man, something's, yo, look, like, what's going on here? Like, we're not supposed to be here. And she's like, rewind. That ain't crazy.
Looking down on my phone when that happened, and I was like, "What? Did my computer or did my TV just mess up?" Like, no, we're watching WandaVision. That's right. She just did
Did
something.
he not know when she rewinded the time back? Did he not? He just obviously doesn't know.
Nah.
Oh, he doesn't know. Well, he doesn't remember the thing with the beekeeper. But one of the things, like Nuno was saying, how there wasn't like a lot to complain about. I think that's because there were so many negatives last week. They kind of just dried us out of it,
Yeah.
so that anything they put out this week would have been better.
But it made sense as well this week. Like it actually had sense to it when it ended.
So,
Homegirl's like, you gonna name him after your brother Pietro? Wasn't he killed by Ultron? What'd you say? Bruh, it was fire. It was fire. And she has the little
necklace.
The sword thing.
Yeah.
I think Manny or somebody said it was like a shield, like a, what is it? Sword.
Sword.
Outer space, like, right? They guard the space.
You
Yeah.
guys know what it is?
Which completely now makes sense in like, there's so many things I want to say about that, but I'll wait until the end for when we speculate, because I feel
It's
like
epic.
us thinking about that last week and what happened this week and the ending really kind of ties in. I feel like we kind of hit it on the nail a little bit.
Yeah.
I kept going back and forth. Oh man, something just messed up. One second. Y'all can keep talking.
Yeah. Hey,
So-
I love, like I said, how you guys were saying the guy's cutting the fence, and he's basically like glitching out or realizing that he's there, and we got homegirl coming over, whispering to him, like she's saying, like, oh, I'm thinking she's saying, oh, look, we've been here long enough now. Like in this time frame, she hasn't changed anything, but meanwhile, she's giving birth. All this craziness is happening. So I mean, it's pretty crazy. And he's like, what don't you want me to know? What's going on? And you know what I mean? So yeah, and the ending is crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, what I was gonna say though is that it's funny that you bring that up about the possible speculation, because as I'm watching, because I watched it twice. The first time I watched it, I was like, oh man, you know what, that theory that I threw out there, it's not right. And then this time, watching it a second time, I was like, you know what, I think I'm on the
Maybe.
money. I think I'm right. But
Now,
and
when we
also,
get the series, I got something for you.
Matt, when you brought up about him sawing through the wall, I don't know if you guys watch Rick and Morty, but that's what I was thinking about. The mailman is like, my bad, and just like glitching out. Like that's what it reminded me of.
Hey, Carla, your mic's off, mate, just so you know.
I was
Yeah.
gonna ask you guys if anyone runs into any Hydra soap, send it my way.
Dude.
So yeah, like you were talking about the glitching. My theory is that it's like so Ultron and Jarvis / Vision are related because they come from the same family. So I'm thinking that these people are like baby Ultrons, and when they do things like that, when they're choking or like sawing through the wall, they're machines. If they were human, they say, "Oh shit, I'm sawing the wall." Like, "Oh shoot, I'm choking. Let me save myself or something." But they're machines. They don't get it. So I'm thinking these are like, it's like Ultron's world. Like I know he died, but you know, with that high technology, he can like just put his stuff in some hard drive or something. And I got Doctrine right here, Vision, and Scarlet Witch. Ultron's on here, and he's one of the main villains. So I think Ultron is going to show up towards the end. And I think that's why, like, Wanda kind of freaked out. We said, "What would you say, Ultron?" And said, "Oh shit, I slipped up." So yeah, I think this is a alternate reality where it's like half Wanda's mind and half Ultron's doings.
Oh shit, I never even thought of that idea.
Life model decoys. I didn't even think of that.
But like the ending kind of makes that not.
Possible, I guess, in a way.
Yeah, maybe
Is that like
everybody
a force
but
shield?
Yeah,
maybe
she,
everybody
like,
but the
she-
one
or-
character, maybe, because I definitely that what's her name?
Geraldine.
Geraldine is 100% a human.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want to. You know, I want to wait until we get to the end of the episode, kind of talking about it. But she gets
Yeah.
chucked out of whatever is going on.
Yeah.
Wanda
Which makes you
Wanda
think-
tells her to get the away.
Which makes you think, though, because there's so many other little incidences that they ran into. Why didn't she just chuck everyone out that she had an issue or encounter with? So
Because it wasn't
maybe
as
she
much.
is only.
It wasn't as much of an issue as she offended, and like because obviously this is some kind of like coping mechanism because like they're trying to be happy and whatever and cover everything up. Wanda, or at least I think Wanda is, but like when she mentioned Pietro and Ultron, that like triggered something and offended her. The other things have like are like cues of like reality going bad, and she just kind of resets it or something resets it. But in this case, this wasn't her like thinking that things are gonna go bad. This is her being angry. Like the other
Right.
times have been her like getting upset but not angry, or being afraid but not angry. This is the first time we see her get angry.
You mentioned
Like-
she was pregnant in the real world. She bloody calls a bloody.
But can we just say that I brought up the twins last week, and
Yeah.
not only did she have twins, but the names they come up with
You
are
really-
Billy
Of course.
and Tommy. Literally the names of the twins, Speed and Wiccan.
Is that their real name, Speed and
That's
Wickens?
that's their hero names,
Hero name.
but their real names are Tommy and Billy.
That was definitely a good call.
So basically, like how you were saying, is that she like I'm thinking that she's holding a whole town, like a little Twin Peaks, a little Riverdale town. She's holding it hostage, basically. That's what I'm thinking, and that's where we get the kind of like little small town aspect, and all the people in there are just hostage, and they've been in this cycle for X amount of time. So that's why they're like, ah, come on, we don't want to switch it up again.
I got
But,
a small idea with that though. I don't think they're hostages. I think they're shield agents.
I
You think
I reckon-
everyone in there is
Are we-
trying to
are
make
we
a
talking
move on
theories
her in their
already?
own way?
Are we talking theories already? Because I've got to know. I've got to.
Dude, there's so many. That's the cool thing about
Oh,
the
man.
show is there's so many theories. But I just
You
want to touch
reckon-
on something that happened in the beginning. Like one of the positives, obviously, or every episode is going to be the Easter eggs. But the doctor's saying, "Oh, I'm going to Bermuda."
Yeah, I thought that was cool.
Yep.
Yeah, that's cool. I said, "What's in Bermuda?" What? Like,
What is
Have
that?
you ever watched like the Agents of Shield show? It kind of like they mentioned. I think they mentioned it in the movies, right? When Coulson dies.
Yep.
I didn't know
but-
what happened. Yeah.
But it's basically how Coulson's brought back to life.
Okay.
It was like
But with a Coulson, it wasn't it Tahiti?
was it Tahiti? I thought it was Bermuda.
It was Tahiti.
Was
You're
it?
right.
It was
Red
Tahiti.
Dead Redemption.
But they mentioned
Tahiti.
Bermuda.
I don't remember if they did, but in the show, Coulson, it was definitely Tahiti.
You know, I know that I'm usually the one that's like, no, let's get back on topic, but I'm gonna forget this if we wait until we go to the possible theories. But the way and Nick are talking, it reminds me of the Twilight Zone where the kid has like the power to make people disappear. And so-
Mm.
Everyone is just like, nope, we're gonna act exactly how you want. Like, we're not gonna offend you in any way, and if you do it, I'm gonna make you disappear. And that's kind of how what's going on here, like with like saying how everyone's kind of scared. But I
Hey,
think
my wife was saying, what is it? The Brady Bunch theme. The graphics were Brady Bunch. The song was another show. What was the song? It wasn't a Brady Bunch song.
But it was custom to this show. You're talking about the intro song?
The intro.
Yeah. So the visuals
Was
were
it
Brady
Bunch
Bunch.
the reference, or was it something else? Like
Yeah,
I
but
thought
did you
Baby Bunch was
notice-
But
first.
the song was something else, but
Yeah,
the
but the
visuals were
intro was
Brady
Brady
Bunch
Super
because
on
the
the Brady
interior.
Bunch thing, on that Brady Bunch thing, in the actual show, right? I've switched on here. They're squares, yeah. When they introduced the family,
Those are
Did you
pyramids.
notice they were like that.
Yeah.
That's AIM's logo.
oh really?
Yeah,
And
they
then
were
I was
like
looking up-
hexagons, right?
Right, and then that guy that came out of the sewer, they look like fucking beekeeper guys.
Yeah, for
Oh,
sure. Hey, yeah.
So I
Oh,
reckon AIM's got something to
scientist-
do with
The
this.
scientist, the Hydra
The
scientist.
scientists,
dude,
the
I'd
best.
love to see MODOK up in this.
I reckon they've got something to do with this, man. Because why would they make him the hexagon? You know what I mean? Like not the square like the Brady Bunch.
And then the interior, and then the first shots of the interior, at least, were the Brady Bunch with the stairs going up and stuff.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to mention that. I thought it was cool too. So you peeped the AIM Easter egg in there. So
Yeah, well, that's why when you're talking about the Brady Bunch, I remember the squares. I was like, hang on,
I just didn't know what theme song it was. My wife said it was another like 70s, 80s show, but I don't know the theme song. I know the visuals were Brady Bunch, but not the theme.
Pretty cool. That's a good catch. I like that. One of the other positives is Carlos brings up is that there's seamless transition between the scenes. You know, like it's just when it's a sitcom thing, and immediately that okay, this is real. Wanda's pissed off, or something's about to happen. Like one of the examples is when Monica hears. I'm calling her Monica. It's Geraldine, but I'm just gonna go ahead and call her Monica. When Monica hears that stork, like the whole whatever, she loses her sitcom voice quick, and she's like, "What was that? What is going on?" Like she's like an agent, like she's ready to go. But then what you brought up was as soon as Wanda hears Pietro and Ultron, she immediately loses her sitcom voice, and it's go time basically.
She turned into the Homelander. I was hoping that her eyes start glowing red.
That would have been nice. Yeah, no, that was.
Yeah,
I was hoping.
So, like that scene, I want to talk about that scene a little bit because to me that was the absolute best part of episode 3. Like overall, this last episode was amazing. But I had mentioned in our last recap that Elizabeth Olsen's acting really impressed me and has been impressive to me. And in this episode, it was the absolute best that I've seen so far. So basically, she has the twins, right? And then she starts singing a lullaby to them in Sokovian. And that to me got me super excited, right? Because we're acknowledging the fact that she is Sokovian, and in our last recap, we were just talking about her losing her accent, right?
Yeah, it brings it back.
So, exactly. So when she is, singing that lullaby, which was a beautiful scene, by the way, I super enjoyed it. She's looking at the twins in their cribs, and when she, says, I'm a twin. I used to have a twin brother." And like you mentioned, Manny, I had said that she completely loses her sitcom exaggerated, voice accent. And when she says Pietro, you hear her accent back, and that little moment to me was just amazing. And when Monica Geraldine, when she breaks character as well, and she says Pietro was killed by Ultron, wasn't he? Elizabeth Olsen's like reaction to that, and when she broke character, the fact that she's able to switch like that is super impressive, and it was extremely believable. Not just that, but it was the biggest what the fuck moment, because the last thing that I expected was for Ultron to be mentioned, for us to acknowledge Pietro again. We haven't heard him being spoken of since Avengers Ultron. So that I thought was just amazing. My favorite part of this whole episode. And I know that we're saving theories for the end, but not so much as a theory as a hope. With all of this, like reality warping stuff happening, I'm hoping that we get some sort of cameo of Quicksilver again, and that would be fantastic.
Well, it's
And
completely possible if Vision isn't alive and he's here. It's completely possible that other characters that no are dead or no longer alive could be here. Like for all we know, Tony Stark's gonna show up
Right.
as like her reality starts to like crack like shatter.
Yep. With RDJ's paycheck though, man. I don't know.
Well, that's why production costs so much money. That's why production costs so much money. They've got him on there.
The only reason I don't think that that Vision isn't real is because the fact that he is noticing something's up. Like if he was just a figment of Wanda's imagination, then why would he think that something's going on? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Why would
Well,
he do anything?
well, and there could be an explanation to Vision actually being real, and this whole again like reality warping stuff that's going on. In the comic book, uh she killed Hawkeye, right? Right, Nick?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, she killed Hawkeye and she brought him back to life. And she also brought back to life Wonder Man
Yeah.
because he was dead. And
Yeah,
so
but she also tried to bring back like 5 million mutants, and they all came back as zombies.
right. But what what I mean is, it's been shown in the comic books that she has the ability to bring people back from life, back to life. So I wonder if Vision is real, if she has something to do with that. So that could be possible explanation to that. Just a thought.
I really like how the episode was in color finally,
That's another positive for
and I
sure.
like the
And
way like her hair and the way they dress was different. It was like they sped up the time periods.
I
Like they
like
went
how
like
they did
5 years, 10 years like later with like the trend of like the furniture and the way they dressed and the way they acted kind of shifted a little bit.
so, yeah, go ahead.
No,
My
you
bad.
go.
I was just gonna say that that's one of the things that my wife actually brought up with when it comes to how much money it was, is that it costs so much money to change a set, and they have changed the set every single episode so far, and not only like just a couple of chairs and stuff, it's like completely different set. So for sure, it's gonna cost a lot of money. And
I like how it went from the small screen, and then you knew that when it went to the widescreen, that was actual reality.
that was my favorite part. Like,
Yeah.
Carl just told you about his part, but as soon as like she was like starting to get pissed off, or no, she was like, "Oh yeah, no, she had to go home. She had to leave," and it's just going into a wider screen. I was like, "Oh my god, things are happening."
And the coloring completely changed.
Yeah.
It was
Camera angles, everything changes.
I think that just proved that this is in like a fake world. That we're in some kind of fake world, but what fake world we don't know.
Speaking of the plot theories, man, we're in Vision's mind, man. That's what's going on.
And since we're speaking of the awesome transition with color, with furniture, all of that stuff, can we talk about how the comedy just got a lot better in this episode?
It was really good.
The comedy in this episode was top notch, man. It was absolutely hilarious, and it was in line. It was in line with the kind of comedy that you would see in 70s shows.
It wasn't cheesy. It was like
yeah,
well placed and well executed.
And that's why like I'd mentioned in the last episode, the type of cheesiness that was in episodes 1 and 2, it was deliberate. It's part of the experience, which is why I enjoyed it much more than like some other people. And in this episode, it was just top notch. One of my favorite jokes was when Vision knocks over the when Wanda knocks over the fruit, and then Vision goes, "I'm gonna be a proud papaya." Dude, it's just perfect comedy to me. It was just perfect comedy in the moment.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, but yeah. So that was like my favorite line, and then another line that I thought paid great attention to the comedy of that time period was when Dottie, the neighbor, when the lights go out and Wanda's like powers are going on the fritz, when she pops out of her bedroom and she asks her husband, she goes, "Phil, do these earrings make me look fat?" And then the lights go out and she goes, "Oh, thank God that I don't have to answer that." It's the perfect.
I think that hit every male on in the planet that watched that show would like, thank God. Everyone that could really happen to us.
It was just perfect, and it goes in line again with the comedy of that time period. So I was rolling, man. I enjoyed it.
My favorite 2 jokes that they made was when first off, her pregnancy like going like that was really like funny, and how he was like, and I thought I had super speed. That was fast. That was really funny. And then when he actually uses his super speed like you mentioned earlier, I thought that was like the way they executed that was so funny and so comical and like fit like that 60s 70s atmosphere.
Seriously. So yeah, man, I completely agree, and I'm loving the comedy right now, and I think that it's super impressive. Going back to the chemistry, man, that Paul Bettany and Elizabeth Olsen have, dude, it's great, man. Their chemistry is really good.
Yeah, so I was gonna ask in Endgame when everybody's missing, or in Infinity War in the beginning, when what happens is you got Captain America on the run, yeah, Black Widow or something. So where's Scarlet Witch and Vision when everyone's on the run and before Thanos even shows up the first time? Aren't they like
They're on
missing as
vacation.
well?
Well,
Isn't
they
Vision
explain
watching
that
Wanda?
they're like in like some weird town in a foreign country, right?
They're on
But
vacation.
weird town, foreign country, vacation.
I think they were running away, like they was like not contacting.
Like in a, like they were running away into a town that's like an orb.
No, I
Yeah,
think
I'm just saying we might be seeing something like that too, because he still got the Infinity Stone. What is she like wishing? Like she's like multiversing that into him too. Like how can she do that?
it's very funny that you say that because I actually had like a little epiphany earlier. We're talking about what's it called, the possible theories now, because we're way past positives, we're way past negatives. So once, if you guys want to get your theories out, go ahead and do that. But let me get mine out first. Um, I was talking to my wife because as soon as the episode finished, she looked over at me and she said, "All right, can you please tell me everything that I don't understand?" And I was looked at her. I was like, "I don't understand anything that's going on right now, right?" And but one of the things that makes me think that it is the fact that we are in Vision's mind, and and that Wanda went into Vision's mind somehow, and decided to stay there. I think that's what it is. I think she decided to stay there, and that's what other, like the other people are agents coming in to try to get them all out, and that's why she's pushing them out, or scaring them to not say anything, right? And the reason I think that is because if you go back to the Ultron movie, what did she say to Vision? She was like, "Can we just not go back? Can we just stay here?" Or not the Ultron movie, and Infinity War.
Infinity War.
Yeah, so like she's just saying, I want to just go away. It's just me and you. So when she went into Vision's mind and she saw that he's alive and she can be there and just live a happy life, sitcom life with him, she wants to keep that. And so she stays in that world. And now people are trying to go, and anytime that someone tries to pull her out, she kind of pushes them out, like Monica. That's my theory. I'm not 100% sure. Like I said, every time I watch an episode, I go back like, oh no, that's wrong, and then I go back and I'm like, oh wait, no, that fits. But I'm glad you brought up the movie because that's what got.
My
But
theory.
like it's like a Truman Show. They're like at the border of the town, and then you have these vehicles that are
Oh,
obviously modern, like 2010, 2020. So I don't think they're in somebody's mind. I think it's like a AIM experiment or run
Yeah,
by Ultron or something.
yeah.
And then yeah, Geraldine slash whatever you call her, she is human, but the other ones are like humanoids. They glitch once in a while. And then the radio person, it's like it's an AIM agent, like trying to control what's going on. But yeah,
You were
I
saying,
agree with Carlo. I reckon it's AIM. They've got her. They're working experiments on her, and I reckon Wanda is going to be the next villain for the face. I reckon they're going to turn her bad.
all right. So basically, we just talked about the ending. Obviously, Geraldine gets thrown out of a portal, and then there's all these agents or whatever, and then you see the big dome. So obviously, I don't think we're in anyone's mind now. I think like what Nuno was saying earlier, how it's this like town that Wanda, I guess she like must have left or something, but she freaked out. She freaked out, and she has like this dome that is everything's like warped inside, and she's like manipulating because a lot of things that she's like she doesn't like, and things change. I don't think unless there's an aim agent that's changing shit at a keyboard when they think that she's getting upset, but she threw Geraldine out. So that's why I think she's in control. I can't explain the vision stuff unless he is alive. Like she brought him back to life and it was all like protective and didn't want anything to happen to him. So she created this alternate reality dome. and she's just trying to keep everybody out of their world. Like this is theirs, whatever. But there's clearly agents trying to get in. She had the sword logo necklace, so that's why I don't know if it's as much aim as it is sword. And here's
I'm
the
gonna ask a
thing:
stupid question. Sorry, Nick. Is sword good or bad? 'Cause I don't know
so
much about Marvel.
sword's kind of like
Neutral.
kind of like Shield. How Shield is like indifferent. Like yes, they have the world's best interests at heart, but they've done stuff in the past that could be considered bad. I just hit the mic.
Well, so going into that, I think that you're right that it mostly is mainly sword. But if you notice with that beekeeper slash aim outfit,
Yes,
whatever,
now that makes me think that. But you know what? They could be working with AIM, or AIM could be trying to get into the orb as well.
that's what I'm saying. So he was coming in from the sewer. It's kind of like a underground kind of thing. He was seeing.
Yeah.
He's
So yeah,
coming in from.
maybe
So it's
like
like somebody broke in,
we
like
might
they
be
done.
seeing. I have a feeling that Sword and Shield would be working together, like Sword and Shield. Like, get it? Like they're probably because Shield is on Earth, Sword is in space,
Is
and
Shield in? Like I know in the comics it's like not, but in the MCU world, is Shield still around?
well, yeah, I would think so. They still had the Agents of Shield show after all that shit happened.
Okay.
So
I don't.
whatever. But like, so we referenced that Geraldine was that character from Marvel Girl, from Captain Marvel, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So Captain Marvel being a hero that was in space and involved with space so much, Geraldine could have gotten involved with Shield in the past with Nick Fury and formed. She's basically Agent Brand. She
That would
started
be
Shield, and we get to see because Shield has the Shield station, which is that giant space station that looks like a sword
sword.
almost.
You mean Sword Station?
Sword station, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it looks like
So
they're
you
skeleton.
if you read the recent X-Men comics, like during going into X of Swords, the sword station was there.
Yeah.
And that's how they reactivated Sword. So I think we're gonna see her working with it's Shield and Sword trying to get in, and then AIM is trying to get in, and maybe we see Hydra too, because obviously Hydra's still gonna be a thing because of the Winter Soldier and um Falcon show, because they teased that Baron Zemo is gonna be in it.
And they keep advertising Hydra products, so
Yeah.
you
They keep advertising Hydra products. So I think there's like 3 or 4 different parties. He's got these
A trifecta.
organizations trying
A
to get into
trifecta.
this like randomly located orb that she's created with her mind.
And you know what? That's actually what I think as well. I definitely think that it's a town that after the grief of losing not just Pietro, but also losing Vision, she does, wind up in this town, and her grief just ends up, shattering her mind to the point where she creates this alternate reality, which
Because
is
it's
why
happened
again,
before, so it could happen in this stuff.
e- exactly. And when she creates this, like town, this force field, this bubble, that's what prompts. It could be both shield and sword, but obviously definitely sword to try and get through to her before she starts, um, absorbing more reality, more of the reality of the world, I guess, right? And that's what makes this, a big, threat level type of event. And I think where Hydra comes into play is that, like you mentioned, Nick, they do try and you, Manny, they do try and sneak in to, either influence or take possession of Wanda again. Because at the end of the day, she was their experiment, right?
Yeah.
No, she was created by Hydra, and the whole point was to create an army of different type of superpowered beings like her and Quicksilver. And when they lost her, I mean, that's a huge asset for them to lose.
So
And
basically, my bad. My bad. My bad.
no, go for it, man.
I just adding on real quick. So what you're saying is Hydra propaganda blasting the TVs inside that town with like Hydra.
Ooh,
Yeah.
AIM trying to come through like
The sewers.
tunnels and trying to sneak in. So
Exactly.
everyone is trying to get a piece of something, basically, right?
Exactly. And the way that I read into the advertising and why we're seeing so much Hydra and like type of products and logos is that it's a type of subliminal messaging,
Money.
and exactly. And if we want to, kind of start reading a little bit deeper, I could be totally off base, but advertising completely changed, the consumer's mind during, especially during the 50s, 60s, and just took height throughout the 70s, 80s.
Like
And
that's how they grew. That's how
Yeah,
Hydra
buying
grew.
all the commercial TV stuff and that, all the stuff they see in the commercials, they would buy, buy, buy.
exactly. And that's, and,
They're trying to get her to buy her to buy their propaganda.
exactly. Advertising, all of that stuff, influences the consumer, the individual. And I think that that's, one of the ways that Hydra's trying to influence Wanda and take, possession of her or influence her, all of that stuff. So I think that it's, Sword and possibly Shield trying to, save Wanda, and then AIM and Hydra, trying to also uh, you know, kind of, I don't know, again, take over her, influence her, maybe somehow, utilize her powers. I don't know. And Hydra and AIM have teamed up many times in the
Yeah.
past, right?
Yeah.
So this could be one of those team ups.
So
And
And what did
Well-
they just announce? They announced Hydra Captain too, like maybe a week ago, that he's gonna be in what? Which movie?
what?
oh,
Doctor Strange.
Doctor Strange. And
yeah,
she's connected to Doctor Strange, and we're getting Hydra propaganda.
exactly.
So I think that end scene with the big dome, I think that proves that we aren't in someone's head as much as
Yeah.
all these are actual people running. Especially like this episode with those guys trying to tell Vision there was something wrong, but they couldn't because they thought they would be get tossed out when they would fracture like what was going on. I think they're all real people actually living. And I wouldn't be surprised if when this like all falls apart, that it just Vision's like corpse or Vision's body, like hooked up, and she's like using her powers to make it like a puppet.
And
That should be crazy. Like no town is just like ruins, like a big crater or something, and she just laying there over.
It
him,
might
like,
it might be the town that they found them in the other movie, and maybe she went
Could-
back there.
could
and-
be. And another thing that makes me think that these are all real people and they just fallen, victim to whatever it is that Wanda is doing, is that after Wanda delivers the twins, the Dr. Nielsen, before he goes to help out, he was going to go on vacation, right?
Yeah.
To Aruba,
Bermuda.
but he doesn't. And when the babies are finally delivered and Vision is walking him out, he tells him, hey, you can, go on your vacation now. And Dr. Nielsen tells him that, no,
I don't think I will.
yeah, that's just not gonna happen. And he specifically says, small towns are hard to escape. But the way that he says that, the look on his face, the tone, all of that stuff, again, it's like that, like underlying uneasiness type of, almost like Twilight Zone type of vibe. So I think that it, just speaks to that idea that they are all in one way or another a prisoner of this reality.
So he was trying to get out, but basically blew it when he saw that she was gonna have a baby and stayed or whatever. So
Well,
what
no,
you're
his
saying
car
is
wouldn't start.
His
Yeah,
car
but
was
that's because Wanda wouldn't let his car start, I reckon.
exactly. It was
He was trying to escape.
so if he's an agent or a shield guy, why he trying to escape? Aren't they trying to?
they're
No, no,
all-
I
infiltrate her?
reckon Wanda's
I think they're all like messed up in the head from her like manipulation.
yeah.
Hey,
they're just
if
regular.
these guys end up being robots, Carlo gonna have a hell of a laugh. I'm
Dude,
telling you that
I
because
know. If it's on robots,
I'm telling you,
Carlo is gonna have the greatest speculation call of this whole show, man.
Wanda, I am sorry.
Well, Carlo actually had another theory. He thought that Monica was a scroll.
Ooh.
Yeah, so I thought they were going to fight. I thought they were gonna throw down. I was like, yeah, this lady is a scroll. She's like she got caught, and I'm glad that they didn't have a throwdown because it just builds up on that momentum. Because if they would have fought, it's like yeah, easy. It would have been cool, but it's not building up on that. So, but yeah, my scroll theory is out the window now. But that was my first thought that that Geraldine was a scroll, but no. I'm thinking. Then I thought she might be your Ultron robot, but no, she's human. She's with sword.
You went
Yep.
on.
Oh, his mic went off again.
Oops. And
Okay.
they're trying to infiltrate and use Wanda's powers because she's like a nuclear bomb, and it's like, and we want to harness her power and blow something up.
So what do you guys feel about? So I don't know if you guys read the same things, but I've been reading a lot that people don't like these shows because there's not enough action. It's just not what MCU is.
This is building the story. Leave the actions for the movies and have the stories on the shows. That's the way I see it.
Yeah.
I'm
I mean,
loving.
I'd have to agree with the people. It ain't got no action, but I mean, like I said, I like dialogue too. So it just depends. You got to give it a chance. It's definitely not The Boys or anything like that.
This is more comedy. This is more comedy and storytelling than anything so far. But we don't know. It might end up being action packed in a couple
Oh, I'm
episodes.
100% sure that like
I don't think it will.
episode 9, there's gonna be some action for sure. Like some
I think so.
fighting.
I think so too. And even if there isn't, if there really isn't, or if it's like extremely mild or muted action, I don't know. I may be in the minority here, but this type of storytelling coming from Marvel is something different, but it's something that I think is paying off in terms of character, interactions, character, um, uh, I don't want to say development because they are playing different roles, but it's still a different aspect of the characters and the MCU world. And if you think about it, it kind of plays into who Wanda is, right? I mean, in the comic books, and when we mentioned this over and over, it's all about chaos. And what is more chaotic than just you know portraying a completely different character than or persona than who she is, and throwing this whole world into a complete reality warp. And I think that that's pretty cool. But I
Yeah,
think that the storytelling so far and what it's building up to is super enjoyable.
yeah,
You
because
know when
But
Wanda is like controlling like the baby stuff around the crib, and you see that it's not realistic, and I'm thinking, wow, like Marvel has millions of dollars on this budget, but you can kind of not see. And say, wait a minute, is that intentional? Maybe they're trying to make it like 70s special effects,
And that's
and
what I think.
yeah, so I was thinking, yeah, maybe it is intentional, but I'm wondering if they're going to continue that trend with the big fight scenes. Is that going to be like 80 special effects or
I have
no?
a negative.
Yeah,
uh-oh.
So
What's
I
up?
haven't. That inspired me. So
All right.
last week I complained about how when the dinner cooking scene, how she didn't do it all magic and why she couldn't just do it with her powers. But in here, she's doing everything with her powers without having to ever do anything actual. Like, why couldn't she have just in the last? I know none of it is like realistic, but if she's able to just build all this stuff and paint the walls with her powers, why did she need to use her hands at all to cook the dinner? Why, like, things are flying out the window and she's burning stuff? She could have just done it all with her powers, just like she did in this episode.
I think that goes back to like the sitcom. So like in the 50s, that was the joke. That was what makes it funny
I
that she.
I know, but it just kind of like if it was, I'm not expecting it to be realistic. I'm expecting it to be consistent.
Consistency.
Yeah.
I think consistent with this saying like this is 50s and this is how bad this is what we're gonna do. And then we move to 60s, 70s, and it's consistent in moving with the decade. That's how I see it. So
80s and we're going to get 90s. I reckon it's going to get through the time.
but as you can tell, whenever she got thrown, or when Monica got thrown out into that field and stuff, that didn't look like bad CGI, right? That looked pretty good. So, like when it comes to the real world, I think they're gonna use current day CGI. I don't think it's gonna be consistent to whatever decade that episode was. It's gonna be real world kind of thing. So, but have you
yeah,
guys?
I love Geraldine's face. Like, what the hell just happened? Like that was like good acting. Her facial expression, like I was like half comedy and half like, whoa, yeah.
They probably didn't tell her that they like put a wire on her and they just yanked her. And so of course that was all. No, I'm just kidding. That they
Real
get
emotions.
emotion. Yeah, like what's going on? Right.
I got
Um,
another theory.
Go ahead.
So
Shoot.
you saw how the her pregnancy went so fast. I have a theory that the kids in the next couple episodes are gonna grow like that,
Yeah.
That
and
scene,
like in the
bro,
next like 3 episodes, they're gonna be fully formed teenagers,
I'm sure
Yeah.
it's gonna be by
Yeah.
the next episode
and we're
because I
gonna
know
get a
in the
spin-off
trailer, the
of
kid
Young
is-
Avengers.
Yo, if that happens, go pick up your comic books at in the
Yo. Everyone's got to get their Young Avengers fix. Yo, I don't think anyone remembers half of them besides Hulkling. Like half the and that female Hawkeye,
Kate Bishop.
Kate Bishop. Because Kate Bishop, it's Hulkling, Speed
And she's already
Wiccan.
on the show. She's already on a Hawkeye show. So
Yeah,
and then
she's
I
gonna be on
bet
the-
that I
she's gonna be
bet
on the
I
show.
bet
So
I bet
this
that
is-
She-Hulk
boom.
I bet that She-Hulk and Bruce Banner end up mixing their DNA somehow, and bam, we get Hulkling,
But
and bam,
Hulkling
there's your-
Hulkling isn't related to Hulk in any way. He just
he gives him the power. I know.
But he's a Kree skull, right?
He's half Kree, half Skrull,
Yeah.
but he just took on the name.
He's OG Captain Marvel. He's Marvel's son.
Yeah, he's an alien.
He's like the real Captain Marvel.
Yeah,
Like-
the real one.
Like that's his son. And that's
So
why
he's not the real Captain Marvel.
no, his dad is the real Captain Marvel.
I'm joking. I'm
No.
joking. I'm joking, guys.
But like I think with Kate Bishop gonna be in play and the kids now born, it's easy enough for them to move these pieces around and that be a show or a movie because now like all the events in the world that have happened with Endgame and stuff and that you saw in Spider-Man Homecoming. How everybody is it Homecoming the second one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like Far From Home.
No.
Far from home. In Far
Far
From
From
Home,
Home.
how like people are back and how the world is like reacting, how everybody now knows who the Avengers are and all the stuff that went on, and everyone knows, you know what, that could inspire these kids to take on after the Avengers, and you get the Patriot,
Young Avengers.
you get Patriot trying to form the Young Avengers, and you're gonna have Kate Bishop, you're gonna have Speed and Wiccan already exist.
And then Kid Loki with the show, maybe they'll show how his boy joined Young Avengers too. Yeah, I like that theory.
Is he a kid?
Because Kid Loki was a Young Avenger.
That's right. Kid Loki joined the Young Avengers for a cool minute.
And
Oh, I
that's
don't
the
even
Stranger
remember
Things
that.
kid, right?
Huh?
The Stranger Things kid is gonna be Kid Loki in the show.
That's what I remember hearing reports. What's the name? Finn something.
Oh, yes. Finn
Yeah.
Finn Wolf something.
Finn Wolf.
That's
Yeah,
the
yeah.
Stranger Things kid.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's also the
but-
kid in It, right?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
Stranger Things, right? The one with the wavy hair.
Yeah, but Carlo, that's a good like spec, man. Idea, a good theory, man. I completely forgot that Kid Loki did join the Young Avengers for a while.
How do
That'd
you
be
think
cool,
they
man.
would do Iron Lad?
You know what?
He's good.
I really don't think that they're gonna go the Iron Lad route.
They're gonna go Ironheart, right?
Because
The little
Riri.
black girl.
yeah, because Riri is honestly she's a lot bigger than Iron Lad ever was, man.
Yeah, I see you.
It'll be Ironheart, but it'll be her daughter. It'll be that girl from that 10. What is it? That 10 Reasons Why. Is that the girl that plays
Yeah. I hope not.
Dark's daughter? I reckon she'll be Ironheart. I don't reckon they'll recast it because it'll make more sense.
It's not gonna be Ironheart because it's definitely gonna be Riri.
Well, yeah, it's definitely gonna be Riri because they are working on her show already. But she could be, I don't know, maybe like a Ironheart, and she could be, the new Rescue or whatever.
Mm.
But this is all in her mind, and how the kids are real.
The kids
Yeah,
have
kids-
to.
I was gonna say, yeah.
Because
What's up
here's
with
the
the
thing:
kid?
these people are actually real because they know, and she got chucked out, and like they're in a dome, like they're in a dome, like they're physically walking around in a dome.
Yeah, but they were already in the dome. The kids weren't in
Yeah,
the dome.
so So Matt, the thing is that her kids were never real. In the sense that in the sense that like they weren't through like natural conception. She created them with her chaos powers.
So it's the same concept. If they're not real there, they're gonna get reborn somewhere, and we'll have them out in the wild somewhere.
So yeah, so I think, and this is like my theory regarding the kids and how it'll pay tribute to the comic book storyline, is that in the comic books in the comic books she created again Billy and Tommy with her chaos powers, but the way that she did that was by using a part of Mephisto's being or whatever. Point is, he ended up taking that part of him back, so her kids ended up uh, n- uh, not existing anymore, but their souls were reincarnated in the bodies of like actual kids, and they had different parents and they grew up, and when they grew up they ended up being like Speed and Wiccan. And I think that what's going to happen is that once this reality that Wanda has created, her kids are going to disappear, and they're going to be reincarnated just like in the comic books, as the grown up uh Billy and Tommy, and that's how we're going to get the storyline of Wiccan and Speed.
Also,
Nick,
the cool
do
thing
you
that they
think?
reference, she references, Wanda references, is like when they're talking about the twin, she's like, "Oh, I was a twin," and in the comic books, their powers are identical, almost identical to that of Wanda and Quicksilver.
Yeah, exactly.
Because Speed obviously is a speedster, just like Quicksilver, and Wiccan has magical powers.
It's chaos. It's
Yeah.
chaos.
Question for you X-Men fellas, because I just watched X-Men movies and they obviously not very true. Is it Quicksilver's in X-Men movies as well, and Magneto's the dad? So
Yeah,
does that
and
mean
Peter.
so is in the comics is Magneto Scarlet's dad?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, in the comic books, in the last couple years, it's been established that Magneto was actually never their dad, and that Wanda and Pietro were never actually mutants.
But Polaris is still his daughter, right?
Yeah, Polaris is definitely still his daughter, but the way that it was explained is that Wanda and Pietro in the comics, they were actually a result of experimentations done to them by the High Evolutionary, and they were considered a failed experiment by him, and they were basically given they were put back uh um with the people that Wanda and Pietro would believe to be their parents, and they were reintroduced as mutants. They were made to be believed to be mutants because of the experiments that the High Evolutionary did on them, and that's where there was the belief that Magneto had an affair with the woman that was raising them, and that they were the product of basically their relationship. But again, in the recent years, it was discovered that that's not the case, and that's why they're no longer actually mutants. Both of them are just like humans that were experimented on.
Marvel retconning everything we know. Dang.
The belief is that Marvel did that when they were trying to push the Inhumans, because they didn't have the rights to do the X-Men movies, so they couldn't really incorporate them. So
They really screwed the pooch with that
they really
Inhumans
threw the
push.
push on that, man. Yeah,
Like the
they
comics,
did.
they went heavy on the comics with that. They went heavy with the show, and it's
Dude,
just
Inhumans has to be the worst thing that came out of Marvel to date, man. That thing was just garbage. Jesus Christ.
You guys heard the theory of who the new big bad's going to be for the MCU for this next phase?
Krang.
Who?
Krang. Kang.
Kang.
Krang.
Kang.
Krang. Kang. I'm sorry.
So I actually, a friend of mine, we were texting earlier, and he like sent me some links to something that he's been reading. And the next big bad is actually theorized, it's still theory, that it's going to be Mephisto. And the Mephisto has actually been mentioned a couple of times here in WandaVision as Agnes. So like Agnes is said to be that witch. I'm not really sure what her name is. Her bunny is Mr.
Sorry, Agatha Harkness.
Yes, yeah, and then her bunny is Mr. Scratch, which
Yep.
is another name for the devil. And the devil, and then, like when she made that like offhand joke of that's not the only thing the devil is in, so most likely her husband is Mephisto. Um, so I don't think Mephisto is behind what's going on in WandaVision at all, but I think he's like popping his head in there because there's also a trailer for Loki coming that's come out, and you can see Mephisto on the stained glass of the church.
Yeah.
So my theory is that Mephisto's gonna be popping his head in all these shows that are coming out, and maybe the next movie, especially the Doctor Strange movie. And but he's just like popping his head in, kind of like Thanos was, but in a more active role. And then everything's gonna lead to the fight for Mephisto. That's a theory. But
I think Wanda's going to end up, for some reason, I think she's going to end up being controlled or something. That she's going to be a bad. She's going to go back to being bad.
I swear, if Mephisto is the one that's making all this happen in WandaVision, I'm gonna be pissed because that's such a cop out. I don't like Mephisto.
Everything happens because
Everything's
of Mephisto.
Mephisto. Because you know what? They're gonna tie it into the Spider-Man stuff.
Yeah, so that's a theory. I don't know if you guys have heard it, but I wanted to bring it out there.
I've heard a lot of theories being Manifesto, like he's 100% the villain. I've heard that's what.
And you know what? Yeah, and I mean the twins. You know the whole twins idea. I mean, it had, dude. They were born because of Mephisto. Because everything is Mephisto.
You know what
So.
that could happen is that she makes a deal with Mephisto to bring them back after she comes out of this.
Oh,
Yeah,
I'm done.
there you go.
yes.
I'm so
And
pissed.
she has to help him conquer. I
Yeah,
just, I
and
don't
she
know. I
has
just
to.
reckon
She
she's gonna
that's
be
right.
bad.
She becomes a villain. That's the
Yep.
And Doctor Strange has to basically stop her.
which would be
Look,
Yep.
you know
sense.
what?
That's what the multiverse of madness will be about.
Yeah, look,
That's what I told my friend too. It was just like it's crazy because Mephisto is just so powerful, and the only way he loses is because he made a deal and he lost the deal, and that's how he loses. He doesn't actually lose to anybody.
look. If Mephisto is one of the bad guys, that's fine. But I hope that he is more of like an Ultron, where he's a big bad, either the Avengers or whatever heroes need to team up to take him down. But I still really hope that the overarching big bad is gonna be fucking Galactus.
It'd be
Because-
third. It'd be the third. It'd be like the next bad
Nah,
after this.
Galactus
and-
goes into the Love and Thunder arc. I think he's gonna poke his head in there because you got Christian Bale as the God Butcher, and so you're gonna see Galactus there a little bit. I think.
And that's where I think that Galactus, if Marvel, aren't cowards, that's where they're gonna, drop
They're
their
not.
first
They're
hint.
not gonna bring. Either they're gonna use Galactus to bring in the Fantastic Four, or they're gonna do the. Fantastic
I was gonna
Four
say,
first,
and then a planet,
because
and
they
then a
can't
planet's
do
getting
Galactus
destroyed.
without Silver Surfer, and I wouldn't want them to do Silver Surfer without.
Yeah.
And then you're
Exactly.
gonna see a
That's
planet
why-
getting destroyed with like a fantastic shuttle like flying out of it. I think so, Nick. Right. So when
Yeah.
you see Galactus, you see a little Easter egg of Fantastic Four too.
Yeah. So if Galactus gets introduced in Thor, whatever, I hope that it is again just a quick little Easter egg, and that starts opening up again the overarching storyline of introducing the Fantastic Four, Silver Surfer, all of that stuff. Because I mean, Galactus recently in recent years has been more of a villain and more of a, I guess I don't know, more of a plot used in storylines in Thor than Fantastic Four. And especially like right now during Donny Cates' run.
Yeah, his first 6 issues was all Galactus.
Yeah, but I don't know. We'll see. But I think that Mephisto popping up in WandaVision is a big possibility as well.
I think he has been like I said, like the whole little Mr. Scratch thing. That was one of the things in the article. Like it makes sense. And it would make sense for Mephisto to just be popping his head in, and as an Easter egg. Like it's not going to be just shown like 100%. Like, hey guys, look at Mephisto. It's just going to be like you need to notice it just like an Easter egg, and that's it. If you don't notice it, well, that's on you. But the only reason I bring it up is because how do you guys feel about it? Do you want him to be the reason for all this WandaVision stuff?
No.
Or would you rather
No.
It's got to be Wanda. It's got to be Wanda freaking out.
Yeah.
Good.
Because if
Yeah.
it's Mephisto, then all our theories from last week of this being how they bring mutants in isn't gonna work because
That's exactly
Mephisto can't be the reason. I wouldn't want
Mm.
Mephisto to be the reason behind the mutants coming into the MCU. I would want it to be Wanda because it makes sense. Like I know she's not technically a mutant, but it makes sense with her history with being part of the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants, being an Avenger, being part of the X-Men. You
But
know,
you got to understand, Nick. Sorry, but you got to understand, like with Marvel, especially, it's not about what makes sense to us comic people. It's what makes sense to the casual fans because that's where they get
That's
their
exactly.
I know, but they
dollars.
also when they
But
bring out
they
the
can't.
movies, people go back and read the comics, so they wanted
Yeah.
to tie in loosely at least. Because people
Yeah.
are gonna be like,
So
"Oh,
I'm 100% with Nick on this one. If Mephisto does play into WandaVision and a bunch of other different shows and movies or whatever, I hope that Mephisto is just a byproduct of what Wanda is doing, and that it plays into like her children somehow, where he ends up being an enemy. But I really do hope that this is just Wanda freaking out because of what happened to Vision. Um, but if it's all because of Mephisto, it's gonna be a cop out, man.
it's gonna be a cop out, and it's not gonna make
It's gonna feel
a genuine transition to like X-Men stuff."
it's gonna feel cheap to
No.
me at least.
That's exactly what I told my friend. Like he gave me the news and stuff, and I was like, "Thank you for ruining my day." Like, I didn't want to hear that. If I want to start doing it.
One thing that I gotta like when we're talking about Robert Downey Jr. coming in as Iron Man, one thing I learned with Disney, especially with the Mandalorian, they're happy to bring out the big stocks for their shows. Like when
Yeah.
they brought in Luke Skywalker, like I think they're not scared to bring people onto these TV shows and do big reveals on the TV shows that you would expect to be in the movies.
Right.
So that's one
Because
thing.
you know what? They're now trying to milk us for everything we're worth because they want you to buy Disney Plus. They want you to pay for it. And if you're like, I'm not buying Disney Plus, like I don't need it. I'm just gonna watch the movies. And then everyone's gonna be talking, hey, Iron Man's
Yes.
in WandaVision. You're gonna be like,
My
oh,
question is, do the shows played separate times, or do any of them lap over each other, or are they all different separate times?
We don't know right now.
we don't know because this is the only one that's out right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Well-
when like this will finish and then Winter Soldier starts, like there's no shows that run. You know how Arrow and Flash have shows running at the same time.
in the same universe, in the same timeline. Yeah.
So
We don't know yet.
So
We'll-
you might be able to get like a call like on Falcon and Captain America, like, yo, Wanda's bugging out, and they're like fighting somebody they can't get
Yeah.
to it. So
Well,
like that's the
clear-
reference to
as
WandaVision.
far as we know, WandaVision's happening after the last movie. So
Yeah, it did.
So obviously Falcon and Winter Soldier is going to happen after that movie. So as far as we know at this moment, because this is the only show that's out, they're both happening in the same time, but we don't know because this is the only show that we've seen so far. Because the other shows aren't really canon.
Hawkeye and
No, that have been released already.
oh
Like
yeah,
the Marvel shows that are already out,
yeah,
and have
yeah.
already
Yeah, like
like
Shield wasn't
Runaways
really
and all those Sony shows, and
yeah.
It's gonna be WandaVision, and then Winter Soldier and Falcon is gonna be the episode that I'm trying to break into WandaVision. AIM and Hydra protecting them, so they trying to break.
no,
into
because this
it.
was finished. This finishes well and truly before Winter Soldier
Yeah.
starts, doesn't it?
yeah, I think isn't the next show Loki?
It's not Falcon, Winter Soldier and Falcon.
I
I thought it was Winter Soldier and Falcon.
it is what
Yeah.
Winston was talking. Yeah,
March, right? And then Loki.
Loki
and
was the end of the year, I think.
March. Now I don't know if they're happening like at the exact same time, like concurrently, but they're all definitely after Endgame because
Are they just one season? Are they
you
one
know we're
season?
gonna, Loki's gonna pop up in one WandaVision episode, like view, like pop in and pop out real quick, because he's just popping in everywhere. I mean, I don't know, I'd like it.
Oh, sorry, wrong turn.
Like down the street, like just a portal, and he's looking around. You see some horns, and back in a portal. View.
well, you know what? Actually, okay, so actually Loki is, I mean, the beginning of the show, it's actually gonna be before Endgame.
Yeah,
But that's just because it's gonna start off with the Loki that ended up taking possession of the cube during Endgame when the Avengers go back in time. So
Yeah.
it's gonna start off with 2010 Loki.
Yeah, when the door opens and slams Iron Man and it's the Hulk and the thing slides in front of him and he looks down, grabs it, and falls backwards into the cube.
Exactly. Exactly. So
He ends
that
up in Egypt, it looks like. He goes back in time into Egypt.
yeah, so the Loki show is gonna be him jumping through different time
Traveling
periods.
through time. Yeah.
And Owen Wilson is Time Patrol, basically.
Yeah, dude, I'm so excited for that.
Right.
But Winter Soldier and Falcon and Hawkeye and the Hawkeye and Kate Bishop show, those are all those all take place after Endgame, just like WandaVision does.
And I'm sure we'll see a timeline where they can like kind of match up,
And
Yeah.
then She-Hulk's a show, right?
She-Hulk is gonna be a show. I still don't know when. Well, I mean,
And Moon Knight too, right? Or is that a
Moon
movie?
Knight,
Yeah, Moon Knight's been announced. Yeah.
dude, I am so excited for Moon Knight. Oh,
Really excited for
man.
Moon Knight. I'm really excited for She-Hulk. However they do that is, I hope they lead. Everyone's gonna say like Galactus, and that's gonna be the next storyline, like the big thing. Like it's gonna be Mephisto, and that's gonna lead into Galactus. And I really hope we get a Planet Hulk storyline.
Oh, that'd be sick.
That'd be sick.
Back on that planet, back on the original planet of the Thor movie, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So like if he gets, we already kind of had that, but like if like I thought that was like them using that was really like hurt me because then like all the potential of doing,
Yeah, because
an
he's supposed to be a
actual Planet
prophet
Hulk,
for the planet.
but
right.
you know what, they could mix it around with everything that's going on this show and everything. We know that you can mix the storylines around and use different characters and stuff. They could do it that he left his son, like he had a son there and he didn't know about it, and Scar does World War Hulk.
Right. And
Like
they
his
need like
son
a Hulk's
comes to
blood or
Earth
something.
angry
Right,
that
right,
his
right.
father left and they left the planet like that, and is after Hulk and Thor. But
I
Thor's
mean-
not there. Thor's in space, and then there's no one there to stop him. Like that would be crazy.
But they never really explored the full core of the planet as well. Like we don't know if his blood heals the planet and stuff like that. So all those stories can still be attributed to
Yeah.
it too. Like how you said,
But
like how is he
you
gonna
know
go back?
what I'm thinking is that it's all gonna happen without Hulk being on the planet. So like he left, and then they found out that his blood that he left there was growing plants and shit, and like all this stuff happens without him there. And his son grows up, and his mother dies, and his son grows up angry that they left. And as the planet, like
I always liked World War Hulk.
dude, that was a great storyline. And World War Hulk and Planet Hulk were great. And the fact that World War Hulk was awesome because it happened during the initiative. So you got all these new characters, and like the world is still trying to figure out how superheroes are gonna work again. So like it was easy for him to come in and throw shit around because no one was like ready to go.
They killed the animated show on the Planet Hulk one. It's killer. Like that little hour and a
Yes,
half
the
movie.
little movie. That's great. They've done that so many times, but one of them it's Better Ray Bill and not Thor, right?
Yeah, which is better.
And the movie uses Thor. The animated movie uses Better Ray Bill, but the comics used Silver Surfer.
Right, he's stuck on there. He's stuck on a planet, and it's a Savage Surfer. Right, he's all like he uses his board as a shield.
That would be a great way to introduce Galactus. Actually, if they were to go like this phase is all Mephisto fucking things up, and they're all like at the end of the phase they're all like weak and like no one's like really together. They're all scatterbrained. There's no like consistent Avengers team, and then Scar's fighting Silver Surfer on this planet and gets pissed off when Silver Surfer tells them like they're all back on Earth, and he fucking takes his army and he goes there and tries to fuck shit up.
Manny.
Is that once you get any nerd riled up on a subject, it's just gonna be hard to get them to stop.
But you know what? I feel like it ties into everything that's happening in this show.
I'm saying Manny in the corner. I'm like, quick, Manny, turn your mic up.
No, I do.
Everything is Mephisto.
Yeah, I love all of this, but we do have to bring it kind of back to WandaVision.
Yes, sir.
I think that we pretty much covered WandaVision.
Yeah, we did. Excellent.
5 out of
excellent
5,
episode.
dude. I gotta say, 5 out of 5 for me on this one. 10 out of 10 for this one. I may be in the minority, but this was a phenomenal episode.
Hey,
I'll give it a
Carlos, we know it's
7
10
out of
out of 10 for you. We're not asking for your score. We know
I
it's
give
10
it
out
a
of
9.
Yeah.
7.
7?
Seven.
Matt, better score. Because last week I think that Matt was like hovering around a 5.
I was like a 5 last week, so it's gone up.
I
Yeah,
said a
so
3 or
originally-
4.
But it's
No,
seven.
Matt at first was like,
But
you
you
know
can't
what?
do that because then if you have it, you know what I mean? You can't just go, yep, straight to it. You know, it's going to slowly build up.
But it's-
what's the 10 episode going to be, literally?
That's
It
what I
better
mean.
be-
If you give it a 10 out of 10 now, so what are you going to say next week if it's a better
It
show?
better be Mephisto, Galactus, and everybody for
Yo.
10 for 10.
If next
First
week's
of all-
good, I might say 7.5, 7.6, you know?
What I love, what I love is that at first Matt was like, you know what, 3, 4, this is garbage, and then we convinced him for a 5, and this week it was a natural 7. So it's
Yeah, well,
progress.
this week was, like I said, it made sense
That's
this
good.
week. It made, like, they should have released the first 3 episodes instead of the first 2, and I think they would have got a better feedback from a lot of people.
Imagine if
did
they
the whole
only
thing.
released the first episode.
Oh, if they were less, fuck that.
Here, last
It didn't test well. I'm telling you, it probably didn't test well.
Last 3 episodes,
releasing
mate,
one
is all I'm
episode.
waiting for. The last
Last
3
thing-
episodes will be 10, 10, 10. You are.
last thing for me on this is that I think that once all of the episodes are released and you're able to rewatch the show from beginning
Gotta
to
make
end,
more sense.
it's gonna be that, but overall I think that it's gonna be an extremely well received and well put together show.
It's going to end up being like a 2.5 hour, 3 hours, even more like a proper movie time because they all go for 25 minutes episodes anyway. That's
Yeah.
what it feels like. I'm watching it, it finishes it. You know, like you got that annoying person. you watch a
21
movie,
minutes.
like,
It's
pause it, and they
21
go for a
minutes.
toilet break. That's what it feels like. You've got to stop it every time it gets good.
That's
Yeah,
actually
21 minutes.
That's a negative right there. There's the credits are 8 minutes long. Like, man,
Oh
what
my god.
content? Come on now. Like,
Into the credits, wait for a post.
Hey guys, come on. We gotta credit the people that made it happen.
make a whole show of just
There's
credits.
$50 million worth.
You know what I'm saying? They about to shut the whole thing down if they don't let that 8 minutes play of credits.
But
Does it
honestly,
really get 8 minutes of credits?
a 7 out of 10. 7 implies that you were bored, at least for a little bit.
7's better than average.
I don't know, man. You should
He
give me-
said 7's better than average.
Go up, man. Go up. Go up.
Carlo,
Go up.
Carlo.
1 is shit, 5 is average, 10 is great.
Oh,
Carlo.
you know,
Guys
you
work
can
in
go
America,
negative.
but in
You can go
Australia-
negative.
No, you don't do negatives.
You can
can't
go
do negatives.
negative.
Fuck, last week's a -4.
Yeah.
And this
Yeah,
week's a
I'm gonna go with
+0.
a 9 out of 10. I can't say any negatives, so it was pleasant. It was good pacing, so it's just setting up for something bigger. We just have to be patient. I know when you're reading a good comic book, you want more, and like, hey, let's settle down, let's relax, let's just wait for the good stuff. It's coming. Watch, it's coming. 9 out of 10.
Hello, what was your thoughts last week though? You weren't here last week. What did you give last week's score?
Last week I would say 8 out of 10, only because it was like too slow and that comedy was too cheesy for me. But I get it. It's that time frame. So yeah, 7.5. And it was black and white. I'm spoiled. I like my color.
Sure. All right. Any final thoughts on this?
You know what rates as a 10 out of 10?
Oh, dude.
On that note, we're gonna end it. Thank you guys for tuning in.
Thank you guys.
Thank you, everybody.
Give me 1 second.
Thanks, everyone.
We have YouTube, we have Twitch here, the podcast. Please listen on all of those. Other than that, have a spectacular day, right?
Yes, sir.